So, good afternoon. After the panel on jobs, we're now going to talk about a resolution, PS Roadmap towards 2019. Everybody who wants to have a talk about anything else than the roadmap, please, can you either leave the room or sit down and take part in this debate? Yeah? Okay. Thank you very much. After the European elections in 2014, I think we have introduced some new and innovative elements in campaigning, but also we have started in the past couple of years several important policy debates, including the debate on the youth guarantee. But now we have to look to the future, to 2019. And once again, I will ask those who are not discussing on the resolution to please stay silent. Thank you. The road towards 2019 is really important because it's our ambition as Party of European Socialists to become the biggest, strongest party in the European Parliament, to have the president of the European Commission. And of course, on the way there, we need to win all possible elections because now we have 11 prime ministers in the Council and 6 parties who are junior partner of a government. But hopefully, in the road towards 2019, we will have more, hopefully even a majority. Is it possible? We have to see, but how it's possible, we have to hear from some of the experts. I would like to invite first Jean-Christophe Cambadélis. He is first Vice President of the Party of European Socialists, to take the floor and to say a few words about the resolutions and about the road towards 2019. Jean-Christophe.
Merci, Marie.
Thank you. Now, dear friends, dear comrades, I have 4 minutes to tell you what is going to happen from now to 2019. That's a minute a year, which is a challenge and a need. But let me distract you for a few moments to say hello from to our friends of MSP who are fighting today for all of us, because they are at the spearhead for the debate for democracy, and I think we were right to hold our Congress here. I would also like to salute all activists who are so necessary, the people of the staff of the Party of European Socialists, the team of the Socialist Group in the Committee of the Regions and of FEPS. Dear friends, dear comrades, there is a formula of our Norwegian friends that I like very much. They say that the party, their party, our parties need to be open and curious. Curious for the problems that our citizens are confronted with. And the problem we will have to solve by 2019 is the following. Are we capable of having an identity and a cohesion between all of our parties on a number of topics? Are we capable of having things to say in common to the Europeans on terrorism, for instance? Are we capable of finding a formula that preserves individual liberty and the security of our citizens? Are we capable of finding a common position and say things to our European citizens on the issue of Islam? Are we capable of combating Islamophobia in our countries and at the same time refuse a normative Islam? Are we capable of developing and saying a number of things together to our citizens on the issue of the COP21. The French Socialist Party invited all their colleagues in Europe to hold a meeting before COP21 on energy and climate to say what the European socialists want in these world negotiations. Are we capable of telling all the Europeans together, are we capable of telling them what we think of what is happening in the Mediterranean? What I mean to say is that we hear what is being said ethically on the need for solidarity of all European countries. But can we not, as European socialists, go a step further? Can we not say that the European socialists on that topic would open a perspective of a world conference to ask the right questions on immigration, on refugees, whether they're economic, climate refugees, putting everything on the table, how we can welcome these, how we can fight traffickers, and how we can fund a European or create a European fund to help these countries develop and fix the populations. Are we capable of fixing and building a common convergent political approach on competitiveness and growth, thanks to the European Socialist parties and their group? We know that Mr. Juncker had to integrate in his political system a plan of 360 billion euros. But is that enough? Is that really what we want to limit our action to? Is that all we can do? I think it's very important to have a convergent policy on these matters. Who had known in Europe that the Juncker plan was originated by the action of the Social Democrats? Who would have known that the Conservatives have kidnapped our own proposal? Are we also capable of having a common approach for all of our citizens on a topic that will concern them, and that's the transatlantic trade partnership? We discussed this yesterday. It's not enough to point out those things that we don't agree on. It's necessary for European Social Democrats to define what they actually want in this treaty, the content of that treaty. And of course, it's not necessary to hurry. Are we capable, that's an essential element, are we capable of telling our citizens, our fellow citizens, that the rise of nationalists in Europe is a big challenge, and how we want to respond to it by using economic solutions to the problems that we are confronted with, but also resisting the ideas developed by nationalists and populists. Until 2019, there are a number of campaigns that we must carry through, a number of things that need to converge. And to achieve that, I think it is necessary for the European Party of European Socialists should take a number of initiatives, conferences on the topics I've just mentioned, to show all our fellow citizens in Europe that in the Party of European Socialists, beyond friendship and fraternity, there is convergence, a unity and consistency. If we need to be curious, we also need to be open-minded. Open-minded, that means go beyond the institutionalized systems that we represent. Open-minded, that means we need to understand that today our fellow citizens are mobilizing outside political parties. Be open-minded is to understand that everyday life as it exists today, the way people organize, need to get into the Socialist Party. We cannot stay between ourselves, between political formations and parties, which are majority parties and major parties in their countries. We also need to understand, as we discussed earlier on, that there's a lot of abstention because our fellow citizens do not recognize themselves in the institutional policy as it is being implemented today. And as we Social Democrats are being identified too much to the institutionalized dimension of politics today, we need to find formulas, ways for our citizens and associations to be associated to our battle for social democracy in Europe. And one last word. I think from that point of view, what is happening in Spain will be important for all of us. We have welcomed quite rightly, and also in Portugal, but in another context, we have welcomed quite rightly the battle waged by comrades in the PSOE. It's very important, it's fundamental, because it's a battle between social democracy and the PPE, the Conservatives, and the Partido Popular in Spain. But there's another battle also against Podemos. If by chance or by mishap our colleagues, our comrades were not in a political situation to be leading the left in the next upcoming Spanish elections, you would see that in all of your countries a number of movements will rise to imitate what Podemos is doing, to go beyond political parties. We see the same phenomenon across Europe, and this can also be a danger. Our comrade Stefan from Sweden said that he was happy to be with us because it was being left, we would be less being attacked on its left than on its right. But maybe this is going to happen to all of us if we're not capable of having a clear identity and at the same time integrate all of our fellow citizens in the process of European social democracy. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Jean-Christophe, for your opening intervention. I think you put some points on the table which are really crucial and relevant, and it gives us a lot of work to do, I would say, but I'm confident that we will manage to do a good job together. Also to underline solidarity with our parties, I think it's really, that's the way to win. So thanks a lot. Now I would like to invite former Prime Minister of Belgium, party leader of the Parti Socialiste Wallonie, and also a very special position this year because Elio Di Rupo, he is at the moment Mayor of Mons, Cultural Capital of Europe 2015. Warmly welcomed.
Bien, mes chers camarades.
Dear comrades, our comrade Kamadelis said the essentials, and I will try to be as brief as him. We've known each other for a number of years. I come from a family of Italian migrants, and when they arrived in Belgium, they hardly knew anything about their new country and about their new home. But they were not terrorists, but simply people who were fleeing misery. As you see thousands of them, today, my country, Belgium, supported my family, and I one day became its Prime Minister. In the Party of European Socialists, this is the Europe that we want, a Europe of diversity where everybody participates in the same project, and let's refer to what just has been said, a project that creates prosperity, solidarity, is made up of prosperity, solidarity and justice. I would also like to welcome all our Hungarian comrades, Zita, who is here, and Joseph, not Sergei, who welcomed us here. A great welcome for our Congress. And of course, we defend another Hungary and another Europe. Dear friends, it has been said many times, the crisis that we are suffering from has many faces. It's a crisis of values, it's a crisis of references, a social crisis. In Europe, it's also a crisis that is being fostered by the right, by the liberals and the EPP. The budgetary constraints imposed on the Eurozone countries slow down the economic development to an unprecedented extent. Hello, Sergei. And for instance, nobody remembers that if there is an investment plan today supported by Juncker, it's thanks to us. And I was there thanks to the Socialists and Social Democrats and François Hollande, who made a remarkable contribution. But the budgetary constraints we are being imposed upon slow down the economic development and considerably reduce our room for maneuver to support Europeans. As a side remark, we saw the splendid victory of Cameron in the UK. Not in detail, it's very complex, but in terms of budgetary deficit, the deficit of the UK is minus 5.7% in 2014. Imagine an instant a country in the Eurozone with such a deficit. That's food for thought for you. Now, dear friends, without changing the treaty and without changing the regulations and directives, it would be enough for the European Commission to recognize that we are going through exceptional circumstances. It's a provision in the treaty. And if the Commission were to recognize the exceptional character of the situation, we could then use what is called flexibility provided for in the texts, and then the budgets of the states would then become instruments of an ambitious policy again, and not, as it's currently the case for the right, an objective as such. All experts agree inequalities increase in Europe. Less equality is detrimental to all categories of our society, the weakest, of course, but also the middle class and the more prosperous parts of the population. And we need to find inequality in Europe, and only our parties inside the PES are able to do so. The crisis is also a democratic crisis. Let me just say a word on the humiliating attitude adopted by the right towards our Greek friends. This attitude is insufferable. You know, if no solution were to be found, the future of Greece would be in the hands of the technocrats of the European Central Bank, who will decide whether or not the central bank is still going to grant credits to the Greek banks. And if no solution were to be found, the exit of Greece from the Eurozone could become a reality. Leaving the future of a country that has elected a left-wing political party, leaving that future in the hands of technocrats is an appalling prospect. We are denying democracy here, and it's urgent that all of us together should support Greece, even if we know that Greece needs to make efforts in the field of governance. And I hope that this weekend there will be initiatives that will make it possible to find a solution by Thursday. The European youth will also pay dearly the austerity. As we said, about 5 million young people are unemployed. It's a whole generation that is being sacrificed, and it's a mortgage on our future. In this context, we need to recognize that the EPP is very efficient, and I hope that the PS to be equally efficient, not only efficient to protect Viktor Orban, but also efficient to occupy all positions, all decision-making positions in the European institutions. And I think that to be stronger than the EPP, we need to define a very clear line of conduct that is understandable by European citizens. Show that we defend workers, young people, people seeking a job, pensioners, all those for whom solidarity is necessary. Now, very strongly and very clearly, we need to be the engines to an alternative to the right. We need to be proactive. For instance, not accept a TTIP that would break down our social model, or that would replace our judiciary systems by private arbitration courts, move towards a common European minimum wage or a tax on wealth, a European wealth tax, have a common position on immigration, terrorism. So there's a lot of work ahead. So, dear friends, let me simply say that we have a responsibility, an extremely great responsibility, and what we are being expected to do is to produce positions that can be understood by the population. Of course, at national level, a lot is at stake at each election, but there is this difference. There is something that creates this general climate. It's the visibility that the Socialist Party must offer. And I hope that what Comrade Cavalieri said will be listened to, that forums are created, working parties, conferences, initiatives are taken internationally to show that we are being proactive and that we have another vision of our society, a vision of prosperity and solidarity. Thank you.
Merci beaucoup, Elio. I think what Elio said about reconnecting with our voters and renewing our narrative, staying very close to our values, even stronger than we are doing at the moment, I think is also a very important message we can take for the roadmap. Thank you very much. Merci beaucoup. And then I would like to call on the stage Laura Slimani. She is the newly elected PS president. Congratulations, Laura.
Dear comrades, hi everyone again. Congresses are there for us to discuss important issues. Congresses are there for us to make important decisions for our political family. And I want to tell you today that as the Young European Socialists, we would have liked to see in this roadmap to 2019 that not only do we fight for high social and fiscal standards, but more importantly, that we fight for these standards to be common and to be shared among our countries. Because the very reason that in many countries these standards do not go up at the moment and sometimes go down is because our countries use them as adjustment instruments instead of protective instruments for the workers. And to be frank, we as Young European Socialists, we do not really understand why we would be in favor and why we should be in favor of common deficit rates, common debt rates, common inflation rates, but not common social and fiscal standards. So as socialists, we do need them. We need them to put an end to the dumping that is undermining the European idea at the moment in Europe. And of course, yes, we'll vote this resolution no matter what, because we believe that the roadmap to 2019, the aim of it is to make Europeans live better, and we will fight every day with you guys for it to happen. But in the name of yes, I would still like to say to you, dear delegates, that in the future, our congresses should be moments of debates. They should be moments where we can discuss whether we are in favor or against the transatlantic treaty. They should be moments where we actually debate whether we're in favor or against common fiscal standards. And they should be moments where it's okay to debate whether they should be moments where we can debate whether it is okay that one of our mother parties has decided at the local level to form a coalition with the far right. We should debate this in this Congress. And we should debate not for the sake of debating. We should debate because discussions will always make our political family more intelligent together than we are individually. So let's not avoid the debates, let's have them, and you can count on the Young European Socialists to raise them every day in the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Laura. It's always great to work with the young European socialists because they keep us awake, alive and kicking. So for those of you who are newly elected in the presidency yesterday, we will have the presidency meeting starting only after this debate finishes, so at around 1 o'clock in the Bartok room. But this was just an internal message for you to know. Now I'd like to call on the stage Antti Rinne, leader of the Social Democratic Party in Finland.
It is not easy to come here after Laura, but I try. Dear colleagues and friends, we Socialists and Democrats are a very important political movement. Our view of the future of Europe is progressive, but we have lived challenging times in Europe. In some of the best parties, member countries, we have had success, but in too many we have landed to opposition in the national level as we in Finland reach. We have seen the same phenomenon to happen to us also in the last European Parliament elections. Despite of what I said, I am confident that we are the winning political movement in future. The needs of ordinary people must be fulfilled. The full employment, social security to all, better education, more efficient R&D, and the work for the sustainable development and peace in a global scale are the worries of the ordinary peoples. Today we should respond to these needs. We need growing member activity in our member parties. Only the lively debate with ordinary people could guarantee that we are enough close to the needs and worries of the people. The challenge is especially in the front of us when we are speaking of the European policy. Our duty is to work as a counterforce against the growing force of the populist movements, too often nationalist and even xenophobic and racist. The welfare, growth and better employment could only bloom in Europe, where tolerance, creativity and confidence to the equal opportunities in society are the basic values and guiding the principles of the policy decisions. It is evident that we need more discussion among us. What is our own identity, which is our values, how we chose our goals and tasks. We are not populist, but we are for the people. We live for the people and by the people. But the support from the people is not coming for us as granted. We must review our processes, ways of interactions with media and with our own local activists. In general, people are more educated, more independent and individualist today than ever in Europe. Same time, part of the people is more excluded of the participation to the society. That is the modern paradox. Our duty is to bring for all the opportunity for decent life and well-being. In the history of our labor movement, our image was clearly of liberation movement. Too many members of our societies have a feeling that they are not anymore free because of the lack of jobs, lack of social security, lack of possibilities to fulfill their dreams for a better life for their family. These people do have a deep mistrust of the opportunities this modernization is providing for them. Too often people are also see us as bureaucrats and a movement which is partly securing the benefits of those who already have good benefits compared to the people themselves. Now it is time to build the relation with our activists and media with a new attitude and flexibility. We should create the opportunities to freedom. To encourage will bring us also possibility, creativity, which is basic need for the society to develop prosperous. Our duty is now to listen and to collect the worries of people. I mean, listen to them really, not acting that we are listening. That will bring us the success. With that strength, we are able to bring welfare to all. That is our duty. That is our mission. We should bring back the freedom to all people. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Antti. So we are getting at the final stages of our debate. We have 3 more speakers on the list, and the first one is Aurélien Massuy. He is the chair or the president of Rainbow Rose. Aurélien.
Well, dear comrades, dear friends, actually it's with great pleasure and also a little bit with nostalgia that I'm here in Budapest. Because just for the story, 2 years ago, when I joined Rainbow Rose Adventure, it was in Budapest. We're like few activists were motivated to relaunch Rainbow Rose, the LGBT network of PS, lesbian, bisexual, gay and trans people. So yeah, we started back from scratch, but we had a lot of support. We had support from member parties, we had support from the PS, also with our leadership, but also staff, also with the SND group. So I'd like to thank again everyone who had supported us, because we are a network of volunteers. We're all doing that on our voluntary time. But we do believe that the PS is the right political family to be in, and we do believe that this is where the debate should be, and we are the political family that will bring equality for all. And this is not just about LGBTI rights, this is just about human rights and equality for all. Just that the fact that because you're LGBT you can have the same rights doesn't just make sense, and this is in the DNA of our political family. And so that's why we're here, and we're really, really happy that now we are associate member. So yeah, it was a great adventure. There is still a lot to do, but we're really happy to have now the status of associate member. Something I like to stress as well is that as a PS organization, we're also willing to collaborate with the other organizations. So we collaborated already with Yes, with Kaiser, and now with Laura, also with Zita and PS Women, and also with ESO. I do think that all the PS organizations, we should really be more united and really also push the party, also with the activists, to all having this same model of society that we want to live in. Because you can't just speak about one specific right. It's just a model of society that we all want to be in. And I do believe that this cooperation is going well, and it will continue. And with this PS roadmap, there is clear references to PS support to LGBTI rights and to Rainbow Rose. So we are very happy about that, and I'm looking forward to all the new adventures that we will have. And I'd like also to stress the work of the board of Rainbow Rose, because we're a team and we have achieved that, and we will achieve again a lot with your help. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Aurélien. I can see that the supporters, the members of Rainbow Rose are very happy that you had the opportunity to take the floor. So I think it's the first time, it should never be the last time, and indeed I do remember our encounter 3 years ago when you came to Zita and myself with the idea to relaunch yourself. You asked for a budget, and we decided to grant it in order to make your work possible. So I hope you will come and ask many more things from us, because it's really, really important. And so we are there for you. Thank you. Then I would like to give the floor to Neva Gazic. She is Vice President of the Young European Socialists. Welcome to the stage.
Thank you very much for your attention. Throughout this Congress, YES held a lot of workshops, and one was also on youth abstention. And often I hear the words that youth is passive, that we don't do much, that we are not interesting. Well, it's not true. Youth is passionate about a lot of things. It's passionate about rebuilding school grounds. It's passionate about action days, cleaning the neighborhood, and so on. It's just not passionate about the political system as such. They are skeptical because of the promises parties made and think that their vote does not matter. We have disappointed them for too many times. So the main challenge also in our roadmap is how to engage the youth. And it's not only the responsibility of the Young European Socialists and its member organization, because we always stand behind you, and we put posters on, and we promote the candidates and the program. But it will not matter until we stand with you, until we stand with strong young candidates, until promises are delivered, until we campaign for values for people. Because youth matter, because our voters matter, because democracy matters. So yeah, give us a chance to stand with you in 2019 to truly become the strongest political force in Europe. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Neva. I know that it's really difficult to stand here, and I think you did a very good contribution, but I give you one advice as a former young socialist: never ask if you can be given a chance, just take it, because I think for us it's also very important to include you very heavily into our work and take it very serious and give you also positions of power, because we all know that we will never win as progressives, we will never win the elections without youth and without women. So you need to guide us a little bit in the direction of 2019, but thank you very much. Well done. Then I would like to give the floor to one of our PES activists. There's a big debate if you should get the right to speak, the right to vote in next congresses. So I think it's a very important step today that you have the opportunity to talk on the stage. You are one of the super activists in the Common Candidate Campaign 2014. You're from Spain, from PSOE. Nax Berger, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. It's a great pleasure to be here to talk about the heart of grassroots mobilization, that is a PES activist. Being an activist is a real pleasure. Yesterday I was reading here on the screen the history of a passion. I believe these headlines represent the work of PES activists all over Europe. We work together with passion. As you know, our 2014 Pan-European campaign changed the overlook of our party, pushing it forward towards the democratization of the Union. Let's say it proudly, the Knock the Vote campaign was one of our major achievements, and it was possible thanks to the commitment of all our PES activists. Our common manifesto and Martin Schulz's message spread all over Europe because of the real work of activists and city groups. This is a fact, and now it's time to strengthen the value and role of activists within our party. The first steps are being taken. We had already 2 editions of PES European Training Academy. I was myself a participant on the first edition, and the experience was a real opportunity and right path towards better coordination, debate, and exchange of good practices within activists and party members. I want to thank the PES staff for the great job in this. But these steps must go further. We have to concentrate and start working for 2019. Grassroots mobilization will be a key to win and become the first group in the European Parliament. Activists will be the heart of this achievement. And as a part of it, we want to have a strong voice in the construction and sculpting of our common strategy. We have the experience and the commitment, but we need also the commitment not only of our national parties, but also, and above all, of PES. Together we can make it. Thank you very much.
So thank you very much. We're coming to the end of this panel, and we're going in the direction of the adoption of the roadmap towards 2019. Before I take the vote, I would like to use the opportunity to personally also thank MSZP staff and PS staff for the wonderful job they have done in organizing this Congress. Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks to you all, it could have been possible, so it's really, really great. Now, I'd like to ask for the vote on the resolution. There are no amendments, so we vote on the entire resolution. Who is in favor? Show your cards or your hands. Yeah, thank you. Or your iPads. Who's against? No one against? Any abstentions? Then the resolution is adopted. Thank you very much. For those of you who need to go to the presidency, we will start in 5 minutes.